Hey everybody, I'm gonna try to keep this short, partially because I gotta pay for um since I gotta pay for like transcriptioning and everything. Um, to that effect, hey, please support my Patreon. Put a dollar into Patreon. Ask me some questions. I'll release some video content in relation. Um, what I'll say is I'm gonna try not to like go too far. Like I don't want to like rehash the Tamron Hall interview. But like I did want to make at least one comprehensive piece to sort of talk about like all of my feelings surrounding it. And like there's a couple of things that came up that I might like bring up in like later smaller videos. But like let me get into it. So there was a lot of effects to it. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, my wife, my metamor, and my partner, we were all on the Tamron Hall TV show recently. It was a really quick turnaround. They brought us up to New York City, put us up in hotels, and the way the thing broke down was the first segment. They talked to my wife and I for a couple of minutes, and then they cut the commercial. Then they bring on my girlfriend and they bring on my wife's boyfriend, and they talk to us for a couple of minutes, and then they cut the commercial. And then they bring on Justin Clardy, who was a PhD professor at Stanford University, and they talk to him for a couple of minutes, and they go to commercial, and that's it. What they like, I mean, I can't even imagine how much money they put into all of that for like 11 minutes of total content. They had us up there, put us in hotels, had cars driving us around, trains for us, a flight for Justin, like a coast to coast flight for Justin. Anyway, so the negatives of the experience, and everybody's got their own feelings about it. These are mine. The negatives about the experience are that we only had but so much time. Now it was like really quick. Everything was really quick turnaround. And I told everybody, I'm like, yo, you got to do it Steph Curry style. You know, just pull up and shoot. Don't, the defense isn't going to give you a whole lot. I kept saying that over and over and over. So like, if you actually get a chance to see the clips, if you ever get a chance to see the clips, everything I'm saying are like these media-ready sound bites because I knew that's all we were going to have time to actually get out, So there was that. Everything had to move really quick. We didn't get a chance to like really express ourselves. We didn't get a chance to like really, like I wasn't able to be Kevin and my wife wasn't able to be, like we just had to like get everything out there really quickly. So the segment got cut. Like apparently the guy who was on before us like was like the guy who did Catfish, and I didn't see any of the Catfish segment, but so like I don't know, but apparently it ran long, so we didn't really have a whole lot of time. Everything moved really quickly, and I keep saying that because like that's one of the things that keeps coming back to mind, how quickly everything moved. But so the segment got cut and released to the public on the website and all over the on Tamron Hall's website and on social media as just a clip of Antoinette and I, and it's like 1 minute and 30 seconds long. So a lot of the reactions that we got were based on just this 1 minute and 29 seconds and not like the whole thing. So that was a little bit annoying, but I gotta be honest, like as much as I would have loved for our partners and for Justin Clardy to have gotten more exposure out of this whole experience, based on like some of the social media response, I don't even know. Like Antoinette and I got a lot of heat, and I'm gonna go into that. But Antoinette and I took a lot of heat in social media, and I'm able to say it with a smile, and I'll explain to you why. But like we got questions, like the main question we got from a lot of people was like, why do you even get married? Which is like, it's 1 minute and 29 second segment. Like we say it right in there. We got married because we met somebody we wanted to build a life with, start a family with. We wanted to spend our lives together. That has hasn't changed. We got married for the same reason everybody gets married. And like people try to bring up like God and morals as if everyone has the same God and the same morals. Everyone's a Christian all of a sudden. Everyone's a theology scholar. Like, look, you got your Bible your great granddaddy got his Bible from a white dude holding a whip who was telling him he wasn't human. Please excuse me if I don't use that as my metric for how I define love or how I define God, but whatever. So we got that a lot. Why did we even get married? We got like, what about the children a lot, and it's like, our children get it better than anybody. And like my kids, we actually had a laugh about this yesterday, where the thought is that like our kids are going to be confused, and it's like, no. This is their normal. They understand it. They understand it better than all these confused adults. My kids get it better, understand it better, because my kids don't have any agendas. They don't have any politics. All they know is that they've got a village. They've got like a lot of responsible adults that really care about them. That like if mom or dad aren't available, that like there are other people who can see to them. In a lot of cases, that just ends up being like if mom and dad aren't available, somebody's going to sneak me some goldfish crackers. But whatever, that's on them. They don't actually care about what my relationships look like, and they don't care what my wife's relationships look like. They just know that they have people around them that care about them. They have a village that cares. And we had a laugh about that. Like I brought it up to my kids. I'm like, hey, hey kids, some people on the internet think that you guys are going to be like angry or confused about like your mom and your dad, and they couldn't have eye rolled harder. And then like the idea is that like, oh, they're fine now while they're small children, but when they become teenagers or adults, then they'll be confused by their norm. Come on. So, and the other shit I got was, is he wearing nail polish? And that was really interesting because so many people cast so many aspersions on what my nail polish could mean. Like I remember like somebody on there was like, well, if he's got nail polish, he must be gay, and his wife must be his beard. But she's got a buzz cut, so because she got a fade, she must be gay and I must be her beard. Or we must be those kind of weirdos because I've got nail polish on. And it's like, seriously? The nail polish is just nail polish. Like be easy. People had so much to say about that. Like, I'm shocked at how much my nail polish came into play. And like people like, and again, we only had like, short amounts of time. So people were like reading into my body language and like, oh, well, he's not really into it. Another part of like this with the segment cuts is that because it was so short, one of the little bits of clip that actually got aired was Antoinette saying that she's never really been monogamous. Now, a lot of people read far into that and like, oh, well, he's getting played. She's convincing him to do this. He's henpecked. She's gaslighting him into thinking this is cool, as if like I don't have any autonomy in the situation. To be really, really clear, my wife and I got together January of 2002. And about 6 months later, we stumbled into some group activity. And after that group activity, we had conversations about exclusivity. I was already off the monogamy path by the time my wife was like, hey, that's not really, like, monogamy is not really my thing anyway. Who knew? I didn't know, because that's the thing with monogamy. So many people get into these relationships and assume monogamy. Like it's just like a default setting. People aren't having like real conversations about whether or not they want to be monogamous or not. They just assume that that's what they're doing, and that's just where it goes. But like, we didn't have time to say all of that. We only had time to like get in media ready sound bites, and my wife saying that it's a thing that happens with non-monogamy, where when it's a couple, and of course non-monogamy is not always couples, polyamory is not always couples, but when it's a couple, someone always wants to ask whose idea was this, and the idea is not whose idea is it. It was which one of you corrupted the other, which one of you is dragging the other into a lifestyle that they're not okay with. And that's the thing that I'm not okay with that idea, because that's not at all what happened, but like that's what people read into it, So there was that. Also, while I'm explaining things, the nail polish, I started getting my nails done black with a matte finish for events, and part of it was that, like, well, first and foremost, because I think it looks awesome. Second most, because of the work that I do, I find myself in a lot of queer spaces. I find myself in a lot of sex ed spaces, surrounded by a lot of queer and trans folks, and like, while my identity has shifted over the last couple of years, I spent 38 of my 41 years solidly identifying as cis het male. Boom. And that's not something that just washes off. Like, even though my attractions have shifted, that's not something that washes off. Like, I read as cis het male regardless. Like, whatever oppression people feel in regards to, like, being queer, I haven't really gotten that yet. Like, I'm not there yet. I'm the new guy. I'm a noob, and that's cool. But, like, the way it works, though, is that I don't want to be threatening in queer spaces, because I bring all of my cisness, all of my hetness, all of my maleness, all of the privilege that comes with those three identities. I still smell like that. I still walk into a place and bring that. So, like, aside from thinking that my nails look awesome, which they do, I wanted to do something that softened my appearance a little bit without violating my overall aesthetic, which is generally, jeans and geeky t-shirts. But I wanted to make sure that, like, I softened my appearance a little bit, to flag to people, hey, this guy's not afraid to challenge gender roles. This guy's not gonna be the guy that tries to fuck me up because, he looks like the guy in high school who fucked me up. So there's that. And, like, a partner of mine wanted to go get their nails and their manicure and pedicure done. Like, it was like a Christmas gift. So we went together and we got our toes and our fingernails done together. And I actually thought about, like, wiping it off right before the appearance, but I'm like, nah, nobody's gonna notice. Like, they're a little janky, but nobody's gonna notice on TV. Even if they notice the fingernails at all, they're not gonna notice that they're a little bit beat up. And nah, people spotted that shit. People spotted that shit and had 1,000 different things, 1,000 different ways to assume all about me because of that shit. It was fun to read. It was fun to read because those aren't the people that I work for, which leads me to the positives. The people that I work for aren't monogamous folks. I'm not trying to change anybody's minds. The people that I work for are polyamorous folks that want to see themselves represented well. The people that I work for are people who didn't know that non-monogamy was an option outside of cheating. The people that I work for are people who felt like they might have been broken because they've been in these relationships that didn't fit them right, that didn't really suit them. Those are the people that I work for. And the response from those people were actually really dope. The responses from those people, I'm going to move the window here and see if I can not look like I'm looking off to the side. Okay, now I look like I'm looking at y'all. So I should have done that from the start. The people that I work for, the response from those folks was phenomenal. Like, I started getting private messages like, hey, can we talk about this? And a lot of times I'd lead them to a resource. I had people saying like, thank you for telling your truth, because if you telling your truth, that means that now I can tell my truth. That response was fantastic. And for all those trolls in the comments on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, the community showed up. Like, people in my local community, people from, like, a variety of communities around the country, they showed up large. Like, people coming in, battling trolls, sometimes with the education, sometimes just with the clapback. And there was so much of that. It was so appreciated. Like, the worst case scenario was that we were going to look like a bunch of assholes. The best case scenario was that we were going to represent polyamory properly on national television. And that's what we had, that's not the best case scenario. The best case scenario is that we'd really be able to show out who we are and what we're about. All of it, but we didn't have time for all that. So we got basically the most that we could get with the little bit of time that we had. And people appreciated the response, people appreciated the representation, and the responses were all really strong. So, like, going forward, the community has something they can point to. Going forward, people who want to find a community have a resource. They have some representation that they can look to, and that's been really dope. That's been really fantastic. So, like, I didn't mind jumping into the comments, even the ones like trying to, like, a couple people had some like really shitty things to say about me, and I'm like, I could be mad, but like, I don't work for y'all. I work for the people who are responding really well to this, and they are responding really well to this. So I was happy to jump in, and it turned into a date night. The same partner who I got my nails done with, we had a date night the night of the television appearance, and we just like curled up on a couch together, like battling trolls, and that was actually really dope. So yeah, like I feel like we got a lot out of it. The experience, the community got a good charge out of it, and there were a couple other topics that popped up along the way that I'm probably going to tackle at later dates and later videos. So that was a real good look, and like just really happy about it all. So going forward, I'm glad that like we're able to provide resources, provide representation, and be that dude, because if somebody has to, like, it's not my natural inclination to be like front and center like this, but the visibility is important, and it's not like I have a problem with being that dude. Like, I'm enjoying it, but also like the visibility is important, and it's been really beneficial to the communities that I serve. So yeah, good times. So keep at me here, keep at me wherever you're watching this, whether you're watching this on Patreon, whether you're watching this eventually if I put it on YouTube and Facebook and so on. Keep up with me here. I'm Poly Role Models on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Please support my Patreon. Put $1 in it. Ask me some questions. I'll ask me some Q's. I'll give you some A's, as they say in how did this get made. But yeah, one way or the other, I got you. Thanks.